Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sovereign Village Project, and welcome to the Community Hour. Good to be back for another one. Good to not be in as much as a rush as we were last week. Last week we were just running up to the last second. We're a few minutes behind starting it. Today's been slightly less crazy, not much. We just got back from a run to pick up a self-leveling laser, so I can start doing a lot more permaculture contour figuring out, basically for swales and earthworks and things like that. So. Always exciting to have another tool to try to figure out. Gabby's in charge of reading the instruction manuals. Hi to Mary, hi to Terry. Good seeing y'all in here. Today is going to be sort of a Q&A for the festival, and it's also just going to be us explaining what our vision is for the festival and what the vision of the other folks involved is, as best we can. But we might just get we've got a whole hour to talk, so this might be a pretty free time where it's kind of a bit of a free-for-all. So ask any questions you want, or let's just get any kind of discussion going. But let's talk about the Back to the Land Festival. We really, really, really want to create a gathering and a movement. We want to get all of the like-minded folks together that we can, especially regionally, around the Mid-South, but from everywhere as well, and really start to incubate true self-sufficiency building and true real homestead building and a new kind of culture and a new kind of group of people like around the country kind of incubating their own little communities and changing their own little communities. I think it's necessary moving forward, and we need a catalyst to do that. So that's what this is, more than just a conference where we go to learn stuff. I mean, that's going to happen. There's going to be incredible speakers who have such a wealth of knowledge to share. I'm so excited to hear what they have to say. But really, the main thing is to get us all into the same place, get everyone exchanging phone numbers, exchanging contact info, meeting like-minded people, getting to know people, making new friends, and then going off to really build the great things that we all really need to be building right now.
Because there's only so much we can do online,
Yeah.
We can connect
and
to
it's
each
time
other
to start moving away from online.
Send messages and, do these sort of live formats and everything, but that's just not the same.
When you sit with somebody, you eat with them. That's why we're also incorporating the farm-to-table meals and everything in the festival, is when you sit down and you eat with people, something, I think that's like why the communion was included in the Bible. It's like you sit down, you eat with people, and something special happens. You connect in a totally different way. And that's what we really want to create. So many awesome people in here. Wow, this is so fast. Platos, hey guys, hello. Good seeing you in here again. Had a great time chatting with you last week. Morris Patch of Heaven Homestead. Love the name. So excited about this. Yes, we're so excited. We are just incredibly excited about the whole thing. We can't believe it's actually becoming a reality and that tickets are actually selling. That's surprising. It's like, thank God.
It's kind of scary to really go through all the work and set up something like this and just give it to God, basically.
And invest a lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of money,
We're still trying to build this house, but we just felt that this was too important. So it's a big financial risk for us, but it's also a risk. It's like a blow we could take if the worst came to worst or something, but it doesn't look like it's going to. The tickets are selling. People are excited to be there. Sharing frequencies in person. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Stephanie Joe Roundtree. Hey, good seeing you. I think you mentioned you're coming. Cannot wait to see y'all in person. Bought the first ticket. I think you did, because I saw your post on that, and I think you did the very first ticket. We might have to give you the first ticket award or something like that. Morris Patch of Heaven Homestead says, where do we get tickets?
BackToTheLandFestival.com.
Yeah.
It should have all the information you need. But if you have any questions, there's a contact form.
Since you have difficulty with my handle, I'm Patrick. Thank you. I don't know how to pronounce it. There's a lot of ways you could go with that. So, and I keep wanting to say platoon. Patrick, hello Patrick. I can remember that. BackToTheLandFestival.com has the tickets at it. Easily sign up form.
We're on Instagram too, if you do that.
Yeah, we just started that.
If you do that sort of thing.
Still doing the social media while we can. So that's the basic vision, and it's a place to learn, and it's a place to connect. And one of the last things that we're still working out the kinks, but one of the last things we'll do is at the end of the Saturday's a big work day. That's when we have most of the workshops, most of the speakers, most everything's happening on Saturday.
And that's when we'll have the main kids activities.
Yeah.
So I think we mentioned in our first video, if you can't, your ticket gives you access to all 3 days. But if you can't come to all of them, Saturday is definitely the best day. We figured we scheduled all the most important stuff then, because we figured that would be the day that most people could attend.
And when we reach the end of that day, the idea is we get done, around probably 4 or 5-ish, starting early, get done around then. And basically we have one last exercise where we all sit down in groups and we get with the people from the nearest region we can. We'll have to figure out when we look at ticket sales where everyone's from.
I think when you sign up for your tickets, I actually added in an extra question that asked from like what state you're from. Or
And
what
so that way
region.
we can put everyone in kind of the groups of their regions, and then like we'll literally print up worksheets. I haven't quite fleshed this out, but we're gonna have worksheets where it's like, what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve both on your home state and your community? What do you think you could produce? What do you want to produce? What do you need? What resources does your property have? What do you want to trade, barter? Are you going to buy some gear? You could, and have all of this listed, and then you sit
What
down
are you
in the
guys
group
trying
and
to
say,
learn? Can you guys split the
because for
difference?
what's happened with us here is like we've met a neighbor over there who is into, he's into a lot of same kind of gardening stuff, and he's a carpenter, and we may bring him on
really
board.
Good at construction.
Yeah, we may bring him on board to help us build the farm stand and to build this co-op we're working on. And we meet different people with different skill sets or different tools or different things that we can really network with, and we want to create those connections with a bunch of like-minded people. So like maybe there's 20 people from northern Alabama that come to the festival, and we'll sit them all down at one of the tables and we'll say, okay, y'all are best friends now, whether you like it or not. We're all allies here. Let's build some great things together. And that could look so different for different people. Like, I mean, we're trying to build like one of the back burner things we have going on right now is a co-op, an agricultural co-op where we can pool resources with other kind of farmsteader type folks who don't have a lot of produce. We've talked about that in past videos. So if you were interested in something like that, you could say, hey, I want to grow commercially, but this first year or two, I'm not going to have that much production.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else want to do this with me? Maybe we can all form a CSA together. Maybe we can start a farm stand together. Or maybe we can just trade tractors or broad forks or other tools. Oh, it's a Greek. Okay, that's why. It's all Greek to me. So that's to me the most exciting part. That's so different. Like everything about it is exciting. Billy from Perma Pastures is going to do amazing things. He's raising the pigs right now on this incredible permaculture diet. Those pigs are going to be more famous than us. They're probably have more, content made about them than us. And then he'll butcher one of the pigs and he'll do a butchering demonstration, and then we will all eat it together and he'll cook it. It's going to be really such a cool experience. Still nailing down a few
entertainment.
Yeah, we'll have live. So the reason to me being a musician that the live entertainment was important, it was just like why the food was important. This needs to be different than just sitting down and sitting down and like listening to new information, because we can learn a lot on YouTube. Why do we actually need to get together? We need to make that connection with each other, and part of that is relax. That's why we're also doing that event Friday where it's more of a meet and greet, farm to table potluck. There may be a speaker or two, but mostly it'll be just a meet and greet and folks getting to know each other. And we really want to force everyone together for the whole weekend as much as we can. And fortunately, there's like no internet or phone access. That was kind of on purpose at the site we chose, just specifically so that people really are forced to talk to each other. Because I have a theory that most homesteaders are like us, which is quite introverted. Yeah. None of us want to really be around people that much. And so we've got to be really pushed outside of the comfort zone and made to connect with each other. Because once introverts do connect with each other, and it's like a kindred spirit, then you feel like
you can conquer the world.
Yeah, exactly. You can move mountains together.
Yeah.
Mary says, so giddy about the festival. Giddy is how I would describe it. Yeah, we're very excited. A little stressed, but mostly excited. Gabby's been really handling a heavy workload on that, and she's just knocked it out of the park. Morris Patch of Heaven Homestead says, this sounds so awesome. Do you plan to do this every year? Absolutely.
Yeah.
We started this.
If it's really successful this year.
So you might notice we're still working on this house. We wanted to do this in one of the rooms we actually finished the walls on. I promise we do have paint on some of the walls now, but we are crushed schedule-wise with this house build. But this was so important for us to get this started now this year, because then we can build it and grow it for next year, and maybe even spread it around to other parts of the country.
And we think, obviously after the past year, after 2020 and everything, we just thought this is so important. It's so crucial to do something like this year because of that fact, and that it seems like we will need to reach a lot more people with this.
Yeah. And it's a crucial time as we come up into the next phase of whatever this pandemic plan is. As we enter this next phase of whatever they're planning and pushing with this Delta variant, it's important. Getting together is really important right now, because it's the opposite of what we're supposed to do, and we should be doing the opposite of what we're supposed to do right now. Will this all be available on video? We are going to get as much as we're still figuring all that out. We're going to get a lot of content from it. We will be videoing everything. Still figuring out how that's going to play out. We may deliver kind of a package to the attendees if we can kind of figure out the technical end of that through the website. where they can access it, get a password or something like that. And then we'll be making a lot of content off of those speeches over time, and we'll use a bit from here, a bit from there. After this house build, we have a ton of backup content to really work on. We really want to put a ton of educational resources out there, and this is going to be a good linchpin. It's going to give us a lot of content. So yes, there's going to be tons of stuff on video from the festival. Hoping it's successful, says S. Hodgson, because we are not available for this year. Hoping for next. Oh darn. Well, yeah, hopefully for next. We may even try, if this goes well and we do well, we may do different kinds of events. We're kind of event people. I'm an entertainer. I've worked for booking agencies a lot of my life. Gabby, she helps manage a very big event out here in Centerville, and she's got all of the marketing experience. So we feel like we're in a good place to run events. And as bars get shut down and venues get shut down and churches get shut down and they really try to stop us from gathering has never been more important. And so creating gathering spaces for people has always been a passion of mine. When I lived in Oregon, and my little town was subject to Agenda 21, where they came in and basically zoned all the businesses out of existence and destroyed the community. We formed a chamber of commerce, my little brother and I, which is still running. I formed it and then basically moved to Nashville. But we formed it because we realized how important it was to get people gathering again, because they had closed our school, the church, or the store had closed down, all the businesses, the tavern. There was 2 taverns. There was a private park where people would gather. Lots of places where the neighbors gathered and met each other, and they all got closed down. The post office got closed down. Mm-hmm. They closed them down all one after another within the space of a few years. And that was when a lot of the Agendas 21 started happening in Portland. Portland was kind of the incubator for a lot of that, and it's the incubator for a lot of things. So watch Portland, because that's where we're all going. And so I realized even then, and I was only a kid then, I realized we really need to create gathering spaces. And that's what they're trying to stop with lockdowns. They don't want people gathering. They don't want people connecting. Yeah. They want to isolate people. And as Billy said in his last video about the festival over at Permapastors, he said, isolation is not the answer. And I can't agree enough.
And also, it was really important to us to find these speakers who have been practicing, what they preach basically for a very long time, who may not, have super huge followings, but they're experts in what they're doing. It was really important to us to really focus on that, not necessarily the allure of, someone who just has a lot of followers.
Yeah.
Because usually when you get to that level of notoriety, you're probably not practicing a lot of what you're actually telling people to do. So we thought it was really important to involve these people that we actually know are legit, I guess, and know what they're talking about. And
we'll be bringing in, we're still, finalizing more speakers. We went ahead and launched festival because we already had a good lineup of speakers, but we're working with a couple of folks who they're not even on social media, or they're on social media, but they don't have any kind of YouTube channels or followings. But what the information that they have to share is so powerful. None of that matters. We don't need draw. We're only doing 175 tickets. It's and we've sold. I haven't even checked it today, but we're probably 20% or between 10 and 20% down by now.
Yeah, 25%.
So we're not too worried about draws. So that means we can really just focus on quality.
Yeah. That's really what we're focusing on this year. We wanted to keep it small because we wanted to really nail it and do something really well, instead of just trying to get a lot of people and risking not doing well.
Yeah. Mary says, will you be having a barter blanket event? We hadn't planned it, and probably not, but that is a cool idea. I just learned about that a while ago. It was so cool.
What is that? I've never heard of
it. I'm still very Jack Spirko did a video, and I need to go back and watch it, but basically it's kind of almost like the way the Indians would have done, or really cultures throughout history, bringing the stuff, the wares they have to trade, put it out on a blanket. You go around and you see what everyone has to offer. I'll go ahead and just go off the topic of the festival a little bit, because that's a cool question. Something we're really trying to build in this broader community. And by the way, when I refer to the community, I'm talking about the community we're in here in Tennessee. Yeah. And we're trying to rebuild this community. We're not just trying to do the intentional community idea anymore. We're really trying to take this disconnected group of people out here and connect them.
Where we're currently located in.
Yeah. But anyway,
people know each other.
Bartering is and free trade is a really part of what we want to focus on. In this unincorporated area, there's not a lot of public businesses or gathering spaces. So one of my goals is to create a physical gathering space and have events like that within the community, barters and things like that, because it's going to probably become crucial. It looks like if you look at the propaganda, we're probably eventually going to be locked out of banking, out of healthcare, out of accessing services like buying and selling and trading and doing commerce. There is an old Hebrew book that kind of mentions that this is all going to happen, that and you see it happening right in real time. You see, basically end time stuff happening where it looks like we're not going to be able to buy, sell, and trade and do business with fiat currency. And you see them dialing back physical cash in favor of digital type assets or digital type exchanges. And so we need to solve these problems and stay ahead of them. And barter is one of them. We're looking at gold backs and selling gold backs from our farm stands so that our neighbors, the people that surround us, have physical, tangible, stores of value to trade with. We're still figuring out the cryptocurrency world and that sphere, and where it's good and where it's bad, and where the pros and cons are. So at this event, we won't have barter. Although some of our vendors may be talked into barter. I know a couple of vendors that are there would not be opposed. But one thing that's going to be a huge thing we pursue on this channel and Finding Country is bartering and alternative money systems and alternative capital systems. Two Old Crows Homestead. We are so looking forward to the festival. We have so much to learn, and connecting with each other. Homesteaders is something we wanted to do. Awesome, y'all. I'm very excited to meet y'all in person. That's going to be great. We're really excited about this. It's crazy that it's becoming real. He saw that we were asked the question about recording or selling a stream, and then saw the answer. Still figuring out exactly how that's going to work.
We're planning.
We may try to make that available, or I suspect for those who don't attend the festival, we'll have a lot of the different stuff available over time in bits and pieces. We're probably going to use that to create a lot of content.
Yeah.
But we probably won't have a stream ready to go right off the bat. But we'll talk that over, and if there's enough interest, we may adapt our plans a little bit. But yeah. Well, thank you, Morris Patch and Hidden Homestead. Y'all are about to talking about the Delta nonsense. Yeah, I'm sure they've already got another one starts with an M. I forget it, but they've already got the chains of propaganda lined up for to extract whatever kind of compliance they want to get out of everything. But yeah, okay, so that's the plan for the festival. Any more questions about it? It is a really cool site. It's stunning. Let's talk about money. We have fought to keep that price as cheap as we can, but we did not have access to a free site. That would have been big if we had a farm or something, but we only have 5 acres and we just couldn't host 175 people. So we did find a really cool place to rent that serves meals and all this, and it's a historic 100-year-old church campground deep in the woods.
It was cheap for what it's offering. It wasn't cheap, but it was cheap for what it's offering, and it's so pretty, and it'll really be like a vacation if you go there.
Yeah.
You'll really.
And there's a lot of stuff on the website too, backtolandfestival.com. We put Gabby put all of the nearby campgrounds and places to stay, and you can message us personally and ask us things.
Campgrounds, hotels.
There's actually a free campground, I think 20 or 30 minutes away over on the Natchez Trace. There's lots of hip camps out here, lots of Airbnbs. There's really a ton of cool resources. So I would just make it.
And it's in October. It's right in that.
Yeah, the leaves are going to be really pretty. Camping. There's Amish country nearby you can go visit. Sunday we're going to be done with the service project in the morning, so you'll still have a whole Sunday if you come to really make a vacation of it. There's rivers to kayak, places to fish. You can go see the Johnny Cash's farm or Storytelling Museum or anything like that. So that's kind of how I would look at it if I was traveling.
Yeah. We can talk a little bit about that Sunday.
So we still have to finalize everything, but we did confirm it with the church. So we're going to be planting a community garden at a church, but the community garden will serve the broader community, and that's actually half a mile from where we're at. It's a church we've gone to, and so we've made good friends with some of the folks that are on the board there at the church, and talked them into it. We were shooting for a food forest, but I think we talked them into doing beds and kind of instant garden style.
Yeah, so it'll be sort of like a tutorial, but also
so it'll be like a hands-on for building beds and instant gardens and stuff like that. But then it'll also be a service project. So that'll be really fun because we'll get to get ready to do something together. We're going to try to source a whole bunch of shovels and all the various tools we need. But you can kind of be involved at whatever level you want to. You can just watch or you can be involved. It'll just be kind of a relaxed for fun thing on Sunday. And on the topic of money, that's what the profits are going to go into. One of our pet projects is getting an association of churches who want to plant community gardens. It's always just bothered me that all of these churches, there's so many churches and so many communities. Sorry, mosquito. So many churches and so many communities that have a ton of land and they don't grow any food on it, and there's hungry people in their community. And it's why are you a church? You're disobeying what God told you to do. He told you to feed the homeless. He told you to feed people, and they're not doing it. And so we really want to change what the idea of a church facility is. say a church should have a greenhouse, a church should have a food forest, a church should you should be able to go and take cuttings. They should be distributing not just food, but cuttings of food and seedlings. They should be distributing seeds and distributing self-sufficiency into their community and becoming hubs of trade. And imagine if you're a pastor or somebody who's trying to rebuild your church, because American churches are virtually empty. People like us aren't going to them anymore because they do so little for us and they're so irrelevant most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if it wasn't just a place to connect with like-minded people and to worship in whatever way you do, but if it was always a place, a true community, a center of a community. You went there and you gardened and your kids could garden and you got big piles of compost and you took classes on making compost and on planting things. If it was, I've seen gardens just become hubs of life, and that would bring the activity and the life back to these churches in a really relevant way. So we're going to be using any profits we do make, if we do make any, over the Expensive Festival. We'll go into starting this association, and then the association will also ideally maintain enough balance to where next year we have a good budget to start the festival on a larger scale.
Yeah.
And hopefully, we can access different properties and stuff like that too.
We're probably going overboard talking about all of our plans, but we just want to be really
transparent. And I do want to bring people onto the vision, because if this works out and we planned out this church community garden, I think we can really posit this idea out to the world more, like churches.
Yeah, we want to show that it can be done.
Community centers and anywhere, businesses, anywhere can be growing food, and we are coming into food problems. We are already in food shortages in many different commodities. When you look at different grains, you look globally, it is here. And we don't quite know the scale it's going to happen at here in America. It may just be rising prices, but that's still going to price a lot of people out of food. And so we need to make these solutions now. There's no time. And the solution is staring us right in the face. It's right there in the churches.
We can really no longer neglect the health of our community.
Yeah.
Clearly, if there are going to be more variants released, then we need to be prepared for that. We need to make sure the people around us are healthy, because if they're not healthy, then we won't be.
That's such a good point. It's like if your neighbors are healthy and not hungry, I think as a prepper, first of all, you don't want hungry neighbors. You're not going to stay awake longer than a hungry person. And you don't want people with compromised immune systems around you in a time of viruses. And regardless of how you feel about the current one, because of what the CDC and WHO and these other criminal organizations have done, they've weakened the immune system of everybody by making them stressed and afraid, and obesity has skyrocketed when they locked down all the restaurants and all of the food sources and turned whole cities into food deserts. The whole global immune system crashed. So you need to prepare, like your neighbor's immune system is your problem more than your choice to take a vaccine or a mask is their problem. Their immune system is your problem. So we solved that problem by putting food abundantly, good nutritive food abundantly into our communities. So many cool comments here, y'all. This is just a hop and chat. Do we need to bring anything with us, like tools? Let's talk that over. Probably, actually, because we're only going to be able to source so many hand tools. So if you were to bring shovels,
if you have the
just simple
capacity, but if you don't, that's fine.
We'll figure that out. Mary says she makes elderberry syrup and gift to all neighbors. See, a gift goes so far. We've done that a lot with seedlings. We'll go out and bring seedlings in the spring, because then they're like, well, now I got to plant it. It's a gift. And we really got, like last year, our neighbors really started gardening a lot. And I don't know if they would have had we not gotten them started. So, and also one of our neighbors, he does garden, but he only planted a spring garden. So our sneaky way, he's been helping us a lot with the property here. Yeah. Wonderful guy. So we're going to be giving him a bunch of seeds for fall planting. And that's kind of a reminder. It's like, hey, maybe we should do fall planting to all the neighbors, We've got another neighbor we're giving that to. So you're giving a gift, you're building connections and goodwill, but you're building food security around you. And you're building allies and relationships of trust, which are going to be critical in these times that we're going into. I'm a little behind with so many great comments. Where did we leave off? Emir says, inspired by you guys, really resonate with this. Wishing you success and joy with your first community homestead gathering. Lots of love from Ireland. Well, thank you. Ireland is such a beautiful nation. I've only got to spend a little bit. I think I spent 2 days, an evening and a morning in Ireland. I was in Dublin, and so, of course, I don't necessarily remember everything that happened. There was some Guinness involved. I fell into the company of some Slovakians, and we drank a lot of Slovička. But Ireland is such a beautiful country, and the people are just amazing. I really want to get to Ireland and explore the countryside. And really deeply explore it with people someday. What a cool place it is. I think I'm about 14% Irish, so it resonates.
Nice.
We have 20 or something variants planned through 2023. I would not doubt it. Wouldn't doubt it at all. Some good sources in the comments to follow, y'all. I would check out those comments of the live stream. There's some cool folks to follow. MLK, WEF, John Hopkins. Let's see. All right, I think we're. We got one more to catch up with. Not sure we can make it this year, but we already signed up for HOA. But we will definitely be there next year. Hope to provide videos.
There's another one down there.
Well, we do hope to see you, but if not, we'll see you at the next one for sure. Patrick saw a massive church garden just outside Memphis. Beautiful. Yeah, I've seen that. So actually, the first one I saw was it was actually a job. Sorry, trying to catch a mosquito. I had a job as a worship leader at a church in Oregon when I was younger. And one year, the guitarist just went out and decided to plant a garden. And I was gone on a tour for like 3 weeks, and I came back, and there was this huge, abundant garden. Like it just popped up overnight. And he just had an incredible green thumb. And he fed a lot of his community. And I actually saw the numbers tick up in the church after that because people really respond when they see a church actually being a church, doing what it's supposed to. Gardens just create life, not just in plants, in people. They draw people in. We sense that this is the Garden of Eden. Like it's intuitive in us. We want to have our hands, especially kids, want to have our hands in the soil. We want to be interacting with plants. I really theorize that a lot of our problems and addictions, especially our social media addiction, trying to get that little dopamine release every time you hit the button, the same with gambling. It comes from perverting the natural dopamine release, which is you're supposed to go out throughout your day and be a little disappointed and then excited because you just found a tomato, and then you see that there's a hornworm, but then you see a pumpkin's doing well, and you're supposed to have these little. Because I kind of came to that thought when I was digging for potatoes the other day. It's like a little scavenger hunt, and you get excited, and you get a dopamine release every time you're hunting, foraging, gardening, any of the stuff, you get that little burst of excitement. And I think that's what gambling and social media and drugs and things. Yeah, it's inverting, and it's taking a natural process and it's overdoing it and it's ruining it.
And it's not as fulfilling.
Yeah. So when people
the more TV you watch, you don't feel better.
Yeah, TV is another one. Any kind of addictive thing like that. It's just
the more
mimicking
you scroll your
what
phone,
should. But like when you start doing that and you garden and build a lifestyle where you can be gardening all day, I think it returns your brain back to this normal state that it's supposed to be in. And when people start in gardening, it's just you see them light up and you see it just start happening. And it's like they just return to who they are as a person. It's really cool. And so that's why that's my main, really more than the food aspect, is why I think churches need to be gardening, but also schools, businesses. I mean, everywhere and anywhere. My goal is to plant as many gardens as I possibly can. More attachment. We are demonstrating a fermenting course at the Ozark Homesteaders Expo this month. Is that something we could demonstrate at your event next year? Hit us up. That sounds awesome. That sounds really cool.
We kept like some of the stuff like small this time, but we'll definitely next time add like a page where people can actually submit to speak. And also like vendors.
We can bring a lot.
We'll probably do a lot more of that.
One thing we're kind of experimenting with this year is vendors who also demonstrate while they're there. Like talking to a soap maker, she may demonstrate how to make soap while she's selling soap as well. And so that, and also some of our speakers will have booths as well, and kind of be acting as vendors, because a lot of our speakers are permaculture people full time, and they have products they sell. They have garden products. They have all sorts of things. So I think next year we'd be very interested. So if you want, hit me up at sovereignvillageproject@gmail.com. But yeah, we'll make it obviously more known next time, and we'll get more people involved in there. That sounds awesome. Fermenting is something I really want to tackle because I'm really interested in alternative food preservation methods. We all know about canning, and we're really going heavily into canning. We're going to do a ton of canning, but canning does, for me, is like a purist kind of prepper sometimes. Canning does have the problem of like eventually you need new rings, and you do rely on the industrial system for that method of preservation in the long run. And so I do want to have more traditional methods like fermentation prepared to go. Sorry, both my dog and cat are being hilarious outside. My dog just fell off the truck. Holly we put her outside. She was barking last video. She's sitting out on the truck we just bought, and she just fell off the side of the truck. I knew it was going to happen. Then she looked over to see if we were watching. Like, oh, nobody saw it. But yeah, so fermenting is something I really want to learn, and I would certainly love to learn more about that. That would be cool. I have done some experimentation with fermenting, mostly of the corn liquid variety and a little bit of a blackberry juice. I tried to make wine, and with some success, that was really fun. So, but fermenting foods would be really cool. Patrick says, I'm very cognizant of our country's status on food security. Yeah, it's not good.
It's county status.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's food security is not good. And yeah, look around you. Look at what's around you. Not just the status of food availability, but also like, are you in a food desert? I know our rural area is very much so in many parts of this county. A lot of areas like a Dollar General is the only thing they have nearby, and there's no fresh food. There's no good food. Like the other day, I tried to get some dried fruit, and I looked at the package. Just dried pineapple. I look at it. They added sugar into it, and everything's like that. You can't find real peanut butter. You can't find real things. Everything's got this either synthetic crap or just tons of soy lectin, just like all sorts of nasty stuff pumped into it. Tons of high fructose corn syrup. So we really pay attention. That's what we're trying to build is solutions for our community to really truly answer these food problems and the health problems that result from it. And I think also, I think people get dumber. I think people get dumber when they eat bad food. I know I do. And I know I feel smarter when I eat good food. So I think a lot of our problems as a nation stem from us having poor nutrition that affects our minds, and then we don't make good decisions. Mary planted a moringa grove 2 weeks ago and got my dopamine hit today. They're already sprouting. Isn't that just something else? Like you see, you're not sure something's going to work, and it's almost like the disappointment is part of gardening, because then it's way better when you do.
It's
when
also
you do have
like
that success.
it's also like the opposite of instant gratification.
Exactly.
You know, like you plant it and then, like you said, you don't get the dopamine
And that's
until
what-
a few days later.
And it retrains your brain away from instant gratification. I think it makes you a more successful person in life too. There's truly no poor gardeners, no matter how
It is
long
more
they've had.
realistic. Like you have to accept that
Yeah,
there will be failures.
yeah, and it's like you learn these
That makes the
metaphorical things.
successes a lot more exciting.
Yeah, it applies to like the rest of your life as well. Moringa, by the way, is something I really want to experiment around with. I know it won't grow as a perennial here, but I know a lot of folks are kind of use it as an annual, and it's an incredible plant, so full of medicinal and nutritional purposes. A lot of people just live off that in Africa and such. So that's a really cool plant. So let me know how that goes for you. Stephanie says, bring some to the festival, please. Do you have cuttings too? Yes, everyone's in on the moringa train. I know it's cool to watch like new plants, not new, but plants that are new to our culture and our region to watch them enter into public consciousness. That's the cool part about this kind of global era is we do get to look at the whole planet worth of edible foods and say, I'm going to bring this and bring this and bring this. We're very lucky. That means that we can grow so much more food with so much less effort by having access to 1 billion different kinds of seeds and seedlings. So I encourage everyone to look around and see what's out there outside of your carrots and tomatoes and your normal foods. Do you mind getting Holly? I think she's stuck out there. Holly just loves to make noise during these videos. Flats have been difficult to find for a couple of years now. Everything's getting difficult to find. Supply chains are hard right now. We just sold the other cabin we've been living in before this, and rather than put all the money back into more property, besides finishing this house, we've been investing in just goods that we think are going to be hard to access. We're getting our greenhouse plastics and our greenhouse frames. We're getting all of our tools, broad forks, sides, all sorts of hand tools on the ground. Any tool we can think of that we might need in the next year or two, we're trying to just order everything and order doubles of everything, and everything from hand tools to chainsaws and stocking extra parts, extra car parts. It's getting really hard to find anything. The supply chains just seem to keep devolving, and it seems like the powers that shouldn't be are really taking action against the supply chains. And it just every day there's something else. There's another ship that's run aground, or there's another shutdown of a factory or a port. And I know another port to shut down in China that's a major shipping facility. So yeah, definitely stock up on anything you think you're going to need if you can afford it. Obviously, you have to prioritize. None of us are made of money, but just remember the fiat is going down in value, and goods, real assets, hard assets are going up in value. So you want to really figure out how much do you need in savings for emergencies. Only keep that much or as much liquidity as you need if you're making a property purchase. But yeah, get out of the fiat business and get into the hard material business. Stephanie was referencing the elderberry syrup. Now, elderberry is something that I hope to actually have cuttings for hopefully soon. I'm planting out as much elderberry as I can around here. And all of my perennials, my plan is to not just be harvesting the fruit that perennial produces, but also cuttings from that plant. We're going to do a ton of sumac cuttings this winter and start sending those out. Sumac is something a lot of people don't realize is edible, and there is a poison sumac, but that's a very different plant. Sumac is edible and delicious, and we have a ton on this property, and we have a lot of them that need to be moved, so we're going to make use of them. I'm not clearing that site yet. We're going to wait till winter when it's a good time to take cuttings. We're going to take tons of rootstock and tons of cuttings from these sumacs and send them out to this audience and anybody else that wants them. If supermarkets have an organic section, what's the rest of the stuff made of? Yeah, that's a good question. It's not good, and it's very hard for us right now because we have no kitchen. We're cooking off of a single little burner, but we're really doing everything we can not to put GMOs in our body, not to put synthetic foods, not to put things like soy and things that we just get way too much of in our diet. Soy isn't necessarily evil by itself, but the way it's grown is very degenerative to the world, and we just have way too much soy in our diets. And there's a million things like that. Obviously, high fructose corn syrup and the plethora of other horrible things that they're putting in food that make us dumb and tired and sick and have cancers and all of these problems that stem from our food. We need to just be running so far away from that. If nothing was happening to our food supply, if nothing was happening with tyranny, even if none of that was happening, we should all be living this lifestyle of becoming self-sufficient just for the health reason, because I really believe our diets are making us miserable and sick and in pain and not in a good place. And we can solve that. We can solve this in our own lives. Patrick says soy alters hormonal balance. Yeah. I can't. There's a really popular YouTuber. He's like a video game guy. I forget his name. He's kind of outside of my normal purview of videos I watch. But he does a hilarious video on soy boys. You should look it up. It's kind of a parody, of course, but yeah, soy does not do good things to men. The tinfoil hat, and he thinks that a lot of that is intentional, which is they would like to feminize the man for so many reasons. And that's kind of what always happens in this civilizational cycle. The pre-collapse is men become more feminized, and you get closer to that kind of androgynous dome city kind of stereotypical thing. And the men are not ready to resist tyranny anymore. They're not willing to fight for their homes or their assets or their families. And that's when dictators can move in. That's when countries can be invaded. That's when societal collapse happens, is when the man is weakened. And that seems to be what soy does. So yeah, let's all collectively stop eating soy. And that's just one thing that's in processed food. There's so much bad crap. We're a sick nation, ripe for the medical industrial complex. Yes, we are. So it's just time to walk away. And I think we really all need to be very serious. And this is why we're doing the Back to the Land festivals. Like, we need to come up with real solutions really fast. Like, we need to walk away from the food system. We need to walk away from the medical system and come up with new solutions. We need to figure out, what am I going to do when I break my leg? I need to have a personal physician who can treat that without me having to go to the system, because they might just cut us off from the system if we don't allow ourselves to be coerced into taking the unapproved, non-FDA approved vaccine. Most prepared foods contain soy. Avoid. Yeah, says Stephanie. Yeah, it's almost impossible to find processed foods. As a musician, I travel on the road a lot, and it's really hard when you're out there because so many foods will trick you. You think it's fruit, or you think it's a peanut butter or a simple normal food. You get it home, you look at the ingredients, and it's full of all the same crap. And they'll give it different names. If you ever see a name you don't recognize in an ingredient list and you look it up, it's often just a different way of saying sugar. Even natural flavor can be sugar. It's just everything is sugar. Sugar is bad for you. Sugar cane is great for you. Corn syrup's not bad for you. The amount that we eat is most certainly bad for us. But yeah, we can come up with solutions for that. Real solutions, not just like gardening, but like, how do we build systems of trade? How do we build farm stands and farm businesses and CSAs and connect people who might produce a little bit with people who produce a lot? For example, some people might just want to garden a little bit as much as they can, but they do have careers or other things that take a lot of their time. So they need to be able to buy something. There does need to be commercial producers of food. And a lot of us have that opportunity right now we see what's happening. We have a lot of opportunity to step into those shoes and say, well, I'm going to be the food producer, and I'm going to go ahead and tap into this commodity, which is skyrocketing in value, and I can literally reproduce it exponentially for free. Mm-hmm. Like if you farm within a permaculture context, you can do it without inputs, or you can use waste streams as inputs, scrap foods and sawdust, bark chips, whatever it is. We have a chance to literally make money growing trees. Because those of us who are probably all watching this, that are in this chat, we understand where the food supply is going. So we understand where fiat is going. And we realize, wow, this is going to be a commodity that's skyrocketing in value. Like, what an opportunity. Like, why would you not farm right now? Mm-hmm. Where are we at here? Well, I feel like we've answered a lot of good questions about the festival.
Yeah, does anyone have any
Yeah,
other
we may not go to the
questions?
full hour tonight just because it's getting a little dark here. We're losing our light. We're using we don't really have a lot of lighting still here in the living room of the new house. So we might wrap it up here pretty soon. So if y'all have any last minute questions, go ahead and just type them up there real fast. But yeah, October 15th, 16th, and 17th are the dates. The most important day is a Saturday, but if you can only make one day, all days are good. Like I said, that we're putting the profits to a good place, mostly towards ideally launching a bigger festival next year, but also towards planting more community gardens and getting an association started. We're going to like form a board and do the bylaws and do all that, so we can really start pushing out these ideas of, hey, y'all, let's grow food real fast.
Kind of create a model for people
Yeah.
who
And we're
are
also
inspired and want to do the same
Yeah.
thing but don't know how.
And
Or
besides,
just
we're going to
kinda
be creating
making it up as
content
we
based
go.
on that, and then we're also going to be creating like learning resources for pastors or members of a church who want to start doing that. You know, just teaching the basics of gardening, making compost, instant gardens, and all the basics of gardening, but in a format that's kind of based around the idea of like a community resource, like a church, community center, business, school, what have you. Sir Jester says, I commend you for what you've achieved and continue. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. We're just working our butts off trying to get our community into better shape and trying to get this community ready and trying to get this nation ready as much as we can. Just, you know, do our part that we were made to do. We were made to be content creators. Gabby's a journalist. I'm a musician, and we feel at home doing this. Actually, this has been a fun discovery, the YouTube channel, and finding like-minded people and talking to somebody, not feeling crazy and but also not in an echo chamber.
And honestly, we were inspired by people we've met through doing, you know, YouTube content, and
like
we
met
were
our best
inspired to
friends
do
through
things.
YouTube.
Yeah, we were inspired to do things that I think before we didn't think we were capable of doing, and now we're like, oh wow, like we were kind of called to do this, and so
Just makes sense.
it's been really empowering, and so that's all thanks to the YouTube community, really.
Oh, Sugar Creek Homestead, Tennessee, made it in just in time. Hello. Actually, you popped in to say hi. Hello and goodbye. We're probably gonna sign off here. So this is your musician. Oh yeah, I've got some music online. It's just under my name, Matt Hundley. We're actually going to be taking a bunch of musical content from the festival. I may even be making an album partially from what we did at the festival. So that's going to be really fun. I like to bring that side of myself into it because this is just whatever we're creating. We're just trying to use our talents that we have or our passions and just bring it into the system.
And we really want to make it like a cultural thing too. So that's
exactly.
a huge part of having like the live music.
Like rural
we want to bring
culture.
in like rural culture, and then even the culture of where we are locally too. I think it's important to share that with people, and that's a huge way.
Mark is asking, will your band play at the festival? I will definitely play solo, and then I might bring in a band. We're still locking down the logistics, but I'll probably play Friday night. There's a good sound system there and everything, and that's going to be more of a laid back kind of eating, drinking, and dining. Well, eating and dining, and it's probably not an alcohol place.
But there will be drinks. There will be water.
There'll be beverages.
There will be beverages.
Matt's in here. Matt's son. Hello, Matt. Hopefully he'll be there. Wonderful leather work. I'm excited. I'm very excited for that. We'll tell you more when we can. Good to see him out. We were just at his parents' place. If that's the same Matt's son. I think it is. Hi, Matt. Continuing. And Mary says, will you be taking requests? Well, as I say on Broadway, I'll take requests. I might not know them or do them, but I'll take them. All right, well, everybody, I think we've kind of reached the end of it. I know we didn't quite go to an hour, but we got about 3/4 of the way there. And our dog is barking. The sun's set pretty low. It's getting a little bit dark. And I think we got all the chickens in. I still have some rabbits to close up. But very good talking to everybody. Oh, wait, we got one more. What made you decide to do this? We just looked at each other and said, this needs to happen. And we were like, well, we're trying to build a house and launch a couple of businesses and build a farm and start a new homestead and all that. But we got time to run a festival.
Yeah, and we had, I don't know if
Billy talked us into it.
Billy talked.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Let's be real.
Yeah, Billy from Pastors Farm. He's like, hey guys, let's do this festival. Yeah. So we're talking and we get into it. I hope Billy's watching. And he's like, so y'all should kind of take the lead on this. So thanks a lot, Billy. So but Billy's been a great help on this as well.
He's going to be a huge part of the festival too. We're making him do the work on the
and he's raising the pork for us right now.
Yeah. He's doing
the whole
a lot
hog.
of prep for us.
All right, well, y'all, thank you so much. Very good talking to everybody. Wonderful dynamic chat tonight. We've had a really good time, and hope to see you at the festival. But if not, we'll still keep connecting, and we're going to put out more events. And also, I travel a lot, and hopefully, I'll continue traveling in this whatever happens in this world and what's coming up. But I hope to meet every single person here. I hope to shake every person's hand that chats here and make a real physical and true connection with everybody. So everybody, hope you all are having a good night, having a good weekend. Hope your week goes well. Stay safe, be well, everybody, and happy homesteading.